as we develop our opinions of the different topics that it feels like for the person that listens to music has to develop, especially in hip hop. And this isn't just talking about hip hop, this is just talking about in culture, pop culture in general. One thing that I realize as you're developing in trying to be a fan and be appreciative of an artist, of an entity, of a brand, it doesn't matter. A lot of times there are things that come with appreciation and, just being a fan of whatever it is that that thing, person, place brings, right? So for musicians, it's the music. For a brand, it's the product. And I'm kind of going on this more, what sounds like a business lesson on fandom, on, rallying the audience. And that's not what I'm here to necessarily turn this into. I'm here to talk about how I told you culture. I've talked about how there's cult like fan bases, how it feels like it's impossible to take a side because not having a side necessarily and wanting to weigh things out is always a problem in hip hop. Now, listen, I love hip hop. I love what hip hop has brought. There have been some storylines for me that I've had to sit back, smaller ones, larger ones, and I've had to let things, I don't want to just say play out necessarily, but I don't like to jump on one side or the other of the fence. One of those things for me, and I'm not going to go through every one down the line or anything like that, but one of those things is this Drake situation with him suing UMG. Let me explain. When I first heard about Drake suing UMG, I think, like most of us, there was that obvious reaction of, here we go with Drake going above and beyond because he lost a, and that sounded and felt right to say for the most part because we've seen Drake be sensitive after a loss before and having all of these different reasons for why the loss was the loss. But I had to take a step back. I had to take some time to understand from the point of view of somebody that's made more hits than the Beatles, as he said his own self, to now become this guy that no, he is not irrelevant in no way, shape, or form. But did you know, did you know actually Drake is still the most streamed artist? I don't know if that's Spotify or hip hop artist, but I don't know if that's Spotify. I don't know if that's Apple Music. I don't know if that's all of them together. I don't have every single fact in front of me as we speak and kind of going off the brain because this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. But did you know that Drake is still that big? Did you know he still has that type of base, that type of following, even though all of the things that have occurred? So when people call him irrelevant and act like all of a sudden Drake just doesn't have any standing, they're fucking wrong. They are Kendrick fans that have to try to damage every single part of Drake. And I think for the most part, again, I do want to say this and emphasize this as well. The certified pedo thing, I get it. I understand that that put a perception in people's minds, but most of us that have some type of sort of understanding and have some brain can see that things are a little precarious or a little weird, but there hasn't been anything that is blatantly in your face that makes you go, no, there is no way that I can argue for this person or against this person anymore. I have that it is what it is. Like we got with Diddler right now. There is no way there is irrefutable evidence that he did what he did. And again, that is a lot more serious as we're talking about serious versus non-serious. But you also can talk about what just happened with Jay. And there are people that believe nothing could have happened because it's Jay-Z. And this has been the big conversation and a big talking point. Just in general, I feel like since I was younger growing up, is it's a lot of things that happen because of stardom that you don't know about. But in the same breath, there are people that take advantage of the fact that they were around a star and they will try to do something as far as to deface these people. And that happens more often than you think. But that is why it is so hard and so confusing in those type of cases. Because again, when you are somebody that has listened to Diddy or the people that he has put on for as long as you have, and then all of a sudden, all of these things come out that are negative things that take away the great star that he was, not the great person he was, because clearly he wasn't a great person. It does take away for a lot of fans. of that person in specific. Again, no matter how small, no matter how big, the Drake fans. Drake fans have been fighting tooth and nail to express that Drake is still that guy. I don't think Drake just stopped being that guy all of a sudden. I think Drake has a really great back catalog. I think if you go right before or two more life all the way back, I think that is like peak Drake for me personally. But there is a lot that has happened that have put people and taken people out of favor. But I think a lot of the stuff that has taken people out of favor from Drake is just so minuscule, so shallow, not really in depth thought. And that is a problem in media in general. You listen to Fantano, and Fantano is so great at breaking things down and having the knowledge to give to express why something is the way that it is, even if it does put his bias in it. And you might take that whole thought process and use it for yourself instead of actually trying to think for yourself and want to maybe go watch on the other side. There are people that will watch Fantano, that will watch FD Signifier, and then right after that, go watch academics. Right after that, go watch a Trap Lord Ross. I know Trap Lord Ross isn't really in that. Trap Lord Ross isn't technically ignorant like a academics where it's brash in your face. I don't give a fuck. I will do whatever and say whatever. Not necessarily like that, but you know what I'm saying with that. There's two different crowds. There's two different understandings. There's two different ideals. I think that there is a certain understanding that you have the hip hop listeners and the hip hop lovers that really have listened to hip hop and have loved hip hop for what the core of hip hop is and what it means and the stories that it tells and the embodiments of these hip hop artists and what Drake lacked in that embodiment of hip hop. So I understand why there are people that even before, because this isn't something that just all of a sudden came out of nowhere with people not liking Drake necessarily, but it's so much more prominent. And so to get back to my point about the UMG situation and just him suing, if you are somebody that has made more slaps than the Beatles, and again, kind of understanding a little more, understanding that he had a $400 million contract where UMG was pretty sure that was going to be his contract that he was going to retire off of, but he recoups that money or damn near recoups that money way faster than they thought. They're like, whoa, 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 this man's about to take us to the fucking bank and we are not going to have anything left for anybody. That's going to be really hard. That's going to put whoever it is in a situation to say, am I even, do we understand each other here? Yeah. Is there an understanding, right? If that is true, I do get why somebody would say, hey, you trying to take money out of my pocket. You're trying to take away the words that I built up, right? That is the core of a lot of what Drake and his beef with this whole situation is. It's more of UNG than Kendrick. I think it's way bigger than Kendrick. I think there's so much more that is in store that we are going to find out. I think in the same breath, Drake was using the same button that he is claiming Kendrick used. If he did use a button, or UNG is doing everything to try to tear Drake apart piece by piece. There is a lot that is going to come out. There's a lot of detail within that statement. And again, my whole point being, you just can't take the initial right away. Sometimes you gotta just give things time. Sometimes you gotta just sit and wait. You know, when you listen to a masterpiece and you listen to a masterful album and you just need time to like really let it sit, you know, like situations like this, I think we need to be more like that. I'm not saying that this is a masterful album or what he's doing is masterful. I'm saying the thought process that you got to put into certain things where there is so much thin line in between. We don't know what's actually going on. We just are getting these perceptions from some of our favorite media personalities, from the artists themselves, from UNG, from whatever. Take your time. It don't need to be a I told you so. It just don't. It could be either way. And I don't think that we have to sit here and knock and take away from. Right? Does that make sense? Anyways, y'all, I'm gonna get up out of here. Y'all stay blessed. Have a good day. I'm out.